Good evening, and welcome. I am your host and facilitator on tonight. I didn't get to make it on this morning, so please forgive me. I had to run out and finish some unfinished business this morning. So that is why I am on tonight. But normally I come on in the mornings around 7:30 or 7:15. But I want to come on tonight briefly and share just what the God had given to me tonight to share with you guys. So I want to talk about masking in the spirit of rejection. That's masking in the spirit of rejection. Y'all come on in, please, and just sit with me for uh, for a few minutes. I won't be on long, but I wanted to share this, what the Lord had given to me in my spirit, because, as being a person with so many backgrounds I have experienced in my life, and rejection was one of them. I did mention the other day about domestic violence, so I have been through just about some of everything. Um, but I'm so thankful and grateful that God have blessed me to get out of it. So he always give us a way of escape, and I'm so grateful. For those who are listening to me, maybe you might be experiencing rejection or loneliness or abuse, or just whatever the case may be. I want to talk to you for a few minutes on today. And I always have a story to share, a true story. I was on the phone probably about 45 minutes or so today, and one young lady, she called me today, and she was kind of troubled in her spirit. And we talked for a few minutes, and as we began to talk later on in the conversation, I found out that she's a CPS worker. But I found out later on in the conversation, she said, "Well, this young man was giving her problems." And as she began to explain to me, and I told her, "You know what? I hear in the spirit, and what you're telling me, that the reason why this particular child was acting out is because he's lonely. It's a spirit of rejection, because she mentioned that every time when she would call the parents and she would announce who she was, so immediately they knew what she was calling for. So they would hang up the phone. And I said, so they know that you have the child, in custody, and you're working with the child. And she said, yes, but they, every time when they hear my voice and they know me, and they hang up the phone. But it's so sad when a parent rejects their own child. It's a sadness that I will never experience. I never have experienced that. I can just imagine how a person would feel, and the things that they had to go through when a parent do not love you, when a parent do not want to have anything to do with you. And that's how, we can feel in relationships. Sometimes we could be married, to a person that we love dearly, but they yet and still they reject us. They can reject us in so many ways, not want to be with us, not want to spend any time with us, not loving us like God say loves us, no conversation with you. Maybe that person, is in one room and you in the other. Or when you try to hold a conversation with that person never has anything good to say. Or that person may walk out of the room while you're talking. I have experienced it all. Being rejected is not a great feeling at all. And I can just imagine how that child felt, being rejected by a parent. Now, I can be rejected by someone that I may be married to. Sooner or later, I can, change that around. I can make up in my mind whether I will stay there and continue to be rejected, or I can just exit the situation and just totally X him out of my life. But when it comes to a parent rejecting a child, there's something totally different. I can remember, I guess, when I told you about this young lady. She was up in age and she shared some things with me. After she saw a broadcast of mine, she shared her story, and it was a true story. As I recall, when she shared this story with me, that her mother left her with her grandmother at an early age. And when she became school age, she went to school in her auntie's clothes and garments. I'm going to say garments this time. So she went there, and the children would make fun of her. And when she stood up, the garment fell down. Can you imagine something like that happening to you at an early age? Can you imagine how you would never get over being traumatized like that at an early age? Can you imagine being rejected at an early age? So that was some form of rejection, because when a person is needing their parents and longing for their parents, but has no connection with their parents, it may be devastating. I can imagine it is devastating. Just to know, for instance, in a relationship when you're married and someone, your husband, reject you, that can also be devastating. The way that we're being rejected in a relationship, maybe rejected in a project, it can still be devastating. The things that we go through life can impact us in so many ways. In so many ways. But the thing about it, we have to be strong. We have to be strong as being 18 and over, as adults. We have to be strong. But when it impacts a child, it can be devastating. But the young lady, she continued to tell me about some different things, some characteristics that this child was taking on. And as she began to explain that to me, I explained to her that this particular child is acted out in a way that this particular child wants someone to love them, to grab a hold to them and take take the child up under their wings, because this child is at an age where they can be taught right now. And as she began to explain the things, she said, I'm just exhausted. And I told her, I said, just step back and breathe. And I want you to imagine and put yourself in that child's position. What if, just think about what if you was abandoned by your parents, and no one cared or loved you. And when the caseworker calls to talk about the child, you hangs up. So it's very imperative that we understand rejection, and rejection does not feel good. As humans, God have put us on earth to love one another unconditionally. Unconditionally. But you know what? One thing I'm learning, that life is not fair, but it's not also fair to the child. It's not also fair to the children that are involved in a marriage. Rejection can leave a mark, a stain, if we don't have the connections and the support that we need. Because in this walk or on this journey, we're going to need somebody, in a lot of whole somebodies, a lot of people. So it's very important for us to actually, I tell people this all the time. First, we got to do a checkup, a maintenance tune up on ourselves. Because being rejected, once you're in a relationship and you feel rejected, you feel lonely, you feel worthlessness, like nobody cares for you. We all have experienced that at least once or twice in our life. But do we give up, or do we get over it? We may be stagnated for a minute, but we get over it, most of us. But for those who cannot get over it, cannot move forward, then what do we do? What we do is call up on the Lord. I know it may be nonsense to most people and say, well, how can I call up on him? He's not listening. He don't care for us. He wasn't there. If he was there, we wouldn't be in this situation that we are in now. But that's how masking do. Masking will make you think the way that I just said, the words that was coming out of my mouth. Don't care. You're in this by yourself. No one's care. No one is listening. No one loves me. Masking in the spirit of rejection will make you think that. But I'm here to tell you, as I was rejected in so many ways, not only in relationships, but I've been rejected in projects. I've been rejected getting a job. I have been said, well, you're not good enough, or you know your skills need to come up, or you're just not cut out for this. If I had listened to all of that, then I would be stagnated and wouldn't be able to move forth. But I had to speak life. Sometimes we have to speak life to ourselves. Sometimes we have to encourage ourselves. And the Bible clearly says that we can do all things through Christ that give us the strength. See, sometimes when we go through things in our life, and life want to give us a bowl of lemons, why not make lemonade? In other words, turn that situation around. When you're being rejected, sometimes it can be a positive thing because in rejection, you can learn. You can learn some of the things that you have been through. When you're walking through that water by yourself and it's so lonely and you feel lonely, one thing I have learned is to lift up myself. Speak life to yourself, pat yourself on the back, and always look up to God because He is our helper, He is our source, and He will, if we will call on Him in the time of trouble, He will answer. Sometimes the road may look dim or it may be completely dark, but know that we can't give up in rejection because the spirit of rejection will be there. But we have to know how to conquer the spirit of rejection. We have to know and figure out who we are. So when I said those words to her today, as we began to talk, and she said, Miss Vicky, that makes all the sense in the world. I never did think that way. She said, that's what I'm going to do. And I say, not only do that, I say, but you show that young person so much love each day. I say, write it down, make it plain, make that vision plain, study that child, and speak life into that child. And that could be someone that is grown, mature, maybe going through something and just don't know how to get out of it, need the support. And if you don't have the support, there was a time that I didn't have too much support in my life, especially when I was going through a life. I was married, had a child to raise, and this statement was made, and it kind of stuck with me, but it pushed me forward. And the statement was made that you've been in school for 10 years. You've been in school for 10 years and you're going to be in school for 10 more years. See, sometimes we have to hold our brakes. We have to push our brakes and just put them on pause. But because I pushed my brakes and put it on pause going to school, that didn't mean that I did not give up. I did not give up. Just because I pushed it on pause for a minute, I had to step back and tend to some things. Then when I would straighten that thing out and make sure it's okay, I would release the brakes and begin to move forward in my education. But if I would have listened to those negative words, I would have kept my brakes on pause, or I would have just put it all the way up in gear to park and never moved it again. But I decided to put it on pause for a season. And every time when I released the brakes, I will move forward. I move slow, but I got it done. And that's what I'm making a point tonight for those who feel like they've been rejected or being rejected. And the spirit of rejection will make you feel like you're not loved, like you're not wanted. It will make you feel lonely. It will make you feel like, oh, wait, real bad, terrible, disgusting. It would even make you think like something wrong with you. Well, what is it? Why I'm being rejected? Is something wrong with me? And you reverse that. Now something wrong with them. So tonight, I want to just share some things with you because I always write down my thoughts of when God releases things to me. Some of the things I have to write down. And I want to share with you of some of the things that I wrote down. And through the course of the Bible, Paul was rejected. Samuel was rejected. It was a lot more people in the Bible was rejected. So that means that we're not alone. And you see how they made it over of being rejected. And we can make it over as being victorious. So let me read this. And I know that time is an essence for just about all of us these days, because one thing, we are living in a microwavable society. Okay, the spirit of rejection can bring a deep feeling of loneliness, a sense of worthlessness. It's worse when a parent rejects a child. It is. It's worse. It's worse than someone being mature. But in 2 Timothy 4:16, when you get time, you can read that yourself. But I put down some illustrations about Paul. As Paul fought persecution to spread the gospel, he found that his friends deserted him when he needed them the most, when he needed their help. Can you imagine being deserted when you need someone help the most and they back out? I think I made an example the other day when you need some people play like, they pretend that, hey, I'm in your corner. But when that day comes, they can nowhere be found. They can't be found. They won't answer the phone. They won't answer the door. You can call them and text them and nothing, nothing. So the spirit of rejection is a problematic with everybody. It's a problem and become problematic. So we have to pick and choose our friends wisely. But God was with Paul, and God gave Paul strength to do what he had to do. So God is going to give us strength because he is with us. And he's going to give us strength to conquer rejection. He's going to be with us always. He'll never leave us or forsake us, but he will be with us always. And we have to know that we know that we know that God is with us when everybody else fails. God will be there. Sometimes we feel like we're walking this road alone. Sometimes it feels like God is not even with us. I've been there, done that. Sometimes we just feel like we are all alone. Like, God, where are you? When are you going to get me out of this? I'm tired. I'm lonely. I'm depressed. I'm going through things, one thing after another. I'm being rejected, doors closing on me. Where are you? Where are you, God? Sometimes we can feel that way. And when you feel that way, just remember that's the enemy, and he's masking in rejection. He wants you to feel like God is not with you. He wants you to feel like God is not on your side. He wants you to experience all of the feeling. Because one thing I have learned, that the enemy gets into your feelings. But if you reject the feelings and know that God is with you, no matter what, because man will forsake you, the enemy is always going to be there to ride on your shoulders if you don't knock him off. But remember, God will never leave you. He will never leave you. The spirit of rejection. And I want to leave you with Matthew's 28, chapter 28 and verse 20. And it say, and behold, trust me, behold, I am with you. Just know that I'm with you. It's a sure thing that I am with you. And behold, I am with you always to the end of age. If God witnessed and gave the inspiration to write this in the Bible, he is with us. He had to inspire Matthews to write this, to tell his people, behold, I am with you. And God is saying, behold, tonight, I am with you. You don't have to feel lonely. You don't have to feel suicidal. You don't have to feel homicidal. You don't have to feel depressed. You don't have to feel angry. You don't have to feel no kind of negative feelings or thoughts, because that is the spirit of rejection. You don't have to feel aborted, abused, neglected. You don't have to feel any of that. Just call up on him and he will answer. But the next thing you need to do, when God releases you out of situations that we cannot handle ourselves and we have to call up on God, make sure that you choose your friends wisely. Make sure that you get you a good support system. And when you go back through that crisis, that you will have someone that you can call up on, and you can also call up on God. Get you someone that you can talk to, that you can trust, that you can rely on, and always rely on the Lord. So that is my end of my conversation. I just thought maybe I would share that, what the Lord has given me to share. So if the Lord permits, I will see y'all in the morning. But if the Lord don't permit, then y'all just pray for me. Y'all have a good night, And y'all make it a good night because I am. All right. Bye-bye.